Hello, this is Chad Middleton, your vocational expert, and I have with me a veteran who has participated in our vocational evaluation services. And we're going to do an interview with him today to find out about his process, to find out about the vocational evaluation report, and to provide information about what happened after he received the report. We have with us Peter. Peter, how you doing today, sir?
I am good. Thank you.
That is good. That is good. Now, you came to us and you found us on YouTube, correct?
That's right.
Okay. What were you looking for on YouTube? Just information, TDIU?
Well, yeah, I had been looking at information on TDIU, and I'd heard from several other YouTube channels that the way to go is to find a vocational expert and get the services done and send that to the VA, because they had no way to counter your opinion because they have none. So at first I submitted my TDIU without that.
Right.
And of course I was denied. And they said, well, it's just another old veteran wanting to retire. And they didn't take into consideration any of my symptoms, the length I've had it, anything like that. So anyway, the next time I sent it in, it was only a couple of months. I'm going to say probably 60 days that I got the letter back. And they said, based on the report that I received from an independent counselor, that we have decided that you qualify for TDIU. And so it was just like that. It wasn't very long at all.
Wow. So you're saying you applied for TDIU, was denied.
Right.
6 days later, you appealed the decision and approved the TDIU with the vocational evaluation report.
That's right. Yeah. As soon as I got the denial letter, I contacted you.
Right.
We had a little conversation. I sent you my what they call blue dot information from the VA website, which had all my records on it. And then you called me back and I read what you proposed. I said, go ahead with it. So you did. You wrote the report. As soon as I got the report back, I filed a supplemental with the VA.
Right.
It included your report.
Okay.
And that's what, like I say, it took about 60 days. And I had the analyst took a look at that and said, there is no reason that we should deny this. And because he said, based on the information we got from the vocational expert, this veteran will not get better. This is something that's going to go on the rest of his life. So this is permanent and total.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So they never did a CMP exam, another CMP exam at all?
No. And matter of fact, leading up to this, I've been in this process for about 3 years because I was diagnosed with late onset PTSD. I didn't realize how it affected my life until I started going to a counselor, seeing a psychiatrist, all of those things. And I wondered why I'd had so many issues in my life. They said, you've got PTSD from your time in Vietnam. Anyway, so once I decided that, I went ahead and I started filing for different things with the VA. And I started at 10%, and I got to 20%, moving on up 40%. Finally, I had a PTSD diagnosis, put me at 80%.
Right.
That's when I contacted them and said, I want to apply for TDIU. That's when they denied me. As soon as I was denied, I contacted your office. You and I spoke. You sent me the letter, and I submitted that as a supplemental, which is additional evidence.
That's right.
And changed the whole thing.
That's right. That's right. And I tell a lot of veterans that if you're going to be denied TDIU, it's usually because you don't have evidence to support why you feel like you can't work.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly why you were denied, because they didn't even look at they already had your disability rating, they had your medical records. What they didn't have was anything vocationally relevant.
Exactly right. And your report listed, what is it, 12,500 different jobs that I was not qualified to have, which is basically every job. And so they couldn't argue with that. They said, based on your evaluation plus my records at the VA, they said this veteran deserves this. Wow. And I submitted a personal support letter of my own to the VA along with it, which I described in my life all the things that had happened to me and because of the PTSD. Anyway, they didn't even take that in consideration until they got your report. Then all of a sudden, their eyes were open. It all made sense, and they said, "Here you go."
Wow, that's great. I'm looking at your award letter that you sent to me now, and they quoted the vocational evaluation report.
They did.
They said on vocational evaluation, counselor evaluator explained in detail the current severity of your service-connected mental condition, the effects of aggravated symptoms on your occupational environment, and the results from a vocational point of view. It is well documented how symptoms of your service-connected post-traumatic stress disorder have worsened to a point in which precludes you to perform your duties in the acupuncture practice, resulting in the closing of your practice and stop working in June of 2024. And after considering all the available evidence of your record, it's determined that your PTSD renders you unemployable.
Ta-da.
Now, wasn't that what you were saying before you got the vocational evaluation report?
Yes.
But they denied it.
They denied it. Yeah, it took the evidence that you were able to produce.
Absolutely.
That tipped the scale.
Absolutely. So your overall rating was 80%, 70% for PTSD.
Right.
And let me share with everyone the symptoms, because a lot of times their symptoms correlate to your symptoms. It was anxiety, chronic sleep impairment, depressed mood, difficulty in adapting to a work-like setting, difficulty in adapting to stressful circumstances, difficulty in adapting to work, difficulty in establishing and maintaining effective work and social relationships, disturbances of motivation and mood, flattened affect, forgetting directions, forgetting names, forgetting recent events, impaired impulse control. And I'm only laughing because your mental health condition didn't change.
No.
It stayed the same, but they felt that you could go to work. They denied your TDIU with these limitations. They said, yeah, we still feel that there are jobs, and there's no evidence that you've produced that suggests that you can't work.
Right. And it's what's interesting is they're the ones who determined I had those symptoms.
That's exactly right.
That was with multiple C&P exams and all kinds of other things.
Right. Did you give us any DBQs, Peter?
You know what? I didn't. And when I looked into that, it was basically a request for information from the government, like you're kind of try to get something. It takes months. It takes months and months. And I wasn't willing to wait. And so I'm glad you decided to use the evidence I gave you.
Yes, sir.
Which were the results of the C&P exams.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad also. And I want to tell my veterans that if you provide me no evidence, then I have no information to do a report. So thank you for providing me the evidence that's needed for the report. If you have no medical, if you have no information to support your claim for disability, then of course I could not do the report. I'm thankful you found us. I'm thankful that you gave me the information that I needed. And in 60 days or less, they determined that you qualified for TDIU, and they backdated it all the way back to the day in which you originally applied, right?
Right. Yeah, which was June of 2024.
Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. What did you think of the report in and of itself when you read it?
I thought it was very, very comprehensive. You know, it was easy to understand, but it was very comprehensive. So it showed that you really know your job. That's right. I chose the right agency to use.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. If you had anything to share with any veteran that is considering vocational evaluation services to apply for TDIU, what would you say to them?
I'd say don't wait.
Right.
Had I done that originally, when I first thought about it, I'd have been a whole year or more ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You know, but I was, a little hesitant. I had talked to a buddy of mine that was on Hamburger Hill, and he said, no, you don't need all that. Just send it in. He was wrong. He was wrong. So that's why you can't always rely on a buddy or something. And I don't know, even VSOs, I'm sure, aren't well aware of what you need. And it was just me kind of ferreting it out, looking online, talking to people, and looking at other websites, that really convinced me I needed to have your services. And then it was just seeing you. I watched a lot of your videos. That was when I couldn't sleep at night. I'd pull up one of your videos and watch and so they planted the seed in my mind. I said, I've got to do this, And even though it costs some money, I'll tell you what, that back pay,
Yeah.
10 times more than I paid you.
Right.
So, and just that's the back pay. So,
right.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
Thank you very much. A lot of people, well, I'm hearing there are agencies that take a percentage of your back pay by providing services. We don't do that. You're just paying for the time it takes for us to generate a report. And like you said, the report was comprehensive. I think it might have been 8-9 pages long. Each report is individually typed. It is a comprehensive report, but it covers your disabilities. It covers your a profile that we created on you based on your limitations. And it gives a conclusion based on the research that we've done to find jobs as they exist. And we concluded that there are no jobs that's going to allow you to have impaired impulse control, problems with maintaining the effective social and work relationships, chronic sleep impairment. There really is a lack of jobs that will allow for these types of mental health conditions. So we put it in layman's terms, and unfortunately for you, the VA reads it and they have no response to it, but to grant a favorable condition or favorable disability benefits. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. Thank you for your service to our country. If you have any questions about anything, and also when you're looking at some of our videos, comment on it. Let our veterans know that this stuff works. You know what I mean? So we try to get the message out to many veterans about the work that we're doing, and I'm glad it worked for you, Peter.
I am so glad. I'm so grateful to you and your team.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And now I can go on with my life a lot less worried about other issues, And so anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This concludes our interview. I appreciate you for agreeing to do this. And if you have any other questions about anything, feel free to reach out to us.
Will do.
All right. Take care, Peter. Thank you.
Uh-huh.